Good afternoon, my esteemed colleagues. I'm Alan Miller.
And I'm Divaughn.
And we're here to teach you about debt and credit. As you all have probably heard, that we are operating, we're actually not operating in a deficit anymore. However, we still owe a substantial amount of money to many different places. So I'm just going to show you guys what we actually owe. And, wow, actually, as of today, we're operating in a deficit because it's going up. Yesterday it was going down. But that's a whole lot of commas on the money that we owe. And
how much is that?
so we got thousands, millions, billions, trillions.
And that's our debt.
National debt.
That's
Okay.
scary.
So.
And
just like
where's our, how do you compare that?
Oh, funny that you should ask.
Oh, thank you for that little segue.
So, this is kind of broke down by person. I'm not sure if you guys followed the news about a year ago, 18 months ago, but there was a lot of turmoil going on in Greece about their debt and there not being money to fund all the citizens. And they actually have a pretty good system for their citizens. You get like a month vacation, all these extra benefits, and they only owe $40,000 per person, and we're about $54,000. So now you might ask, where's all this money going? So I came across this little thing on Twitter the other day, and it just tells you where all your tax money is going. Primarily it's going to military and healthcare. Education's this little sliver down here, which is about 2 cents to the dollar. So it's pretty disturbing to see where our money's actually going. Yeah, you would think energy would be an important thing right now. It's only about 2 cents, but
A lot goes to unemployment. And I feel like maybe more should go to education than there would be some.
Maybe if you spent it on education, you wouldn't have so much unemployment. Yeah.
And another disturbing thing is the veteran benefits, about 5 cents, especially though one of the leading populations of the homeless is veterans, and I feel like we should owe them a little bit more than that, but that's just my little 2 cents. So, this little graph talks about who we owe money to. A lot of it's international investors, like other countries. You always hear the news saying how we owe all this money to China and stuff like that. They're one of the leading companies that we've borrowed money from. Let's see. Domestic and private investors, you've heard of buying bearer bonds and things like that. That's where you give money to the government, knowing that you're going to get a really good interest rate on it. And there's some other agencies, the Federal Reserve, like we were talking about last class. You can, what was that, the risk, or what was that interest rate called?
The prime?
The prime rate. And all that's in there. So.
Okay. According to bankrate.com, these are the top 10 causes of consumer debt. Number one, we have reduced income, same expenses. So basically, people usually, if they get demoted, they don't want to change their spending habits, so they continue to spend or pay the same bills that they previously had if they didn't get a job. That also goes to freshly graduates who just came out of college. They have reduced income. The second is divorce. I know a lot of people have to go through the paperwork and all the legal actions. Number three is poor money management. Basically, you don't have a monthly spending plan, so you're not aware of what you're spending. So you could be spending hundreds of dollars and not knowing because you don't have a monthly plan. Number four, we have underemployment. That goes again with just freshly graduating from college and you don't get the job you want. You're probably working at Walmart or something like that. Student loans go along with that as well. I know number five is gambling. I know a lot of people go to the casinos and bet money and all that. Medical expenses. I know if you don't have health insurance, the hospitals, they they acquire their money, like they want their money then and there. If you're like on IV, I know that's like $800 on IV. But if people don't have health insurance, then it goes, they have to eventually pay that. So that's building up their debt. Saving too little or not at all. People don't save money. I know ever since I've had a job, my mom always told me to take at least $20 out of a paycheck and put it into a savings account. Even if it's not 20, make some type of payment to yourself. You should always pay yourself. No money communication skills. This goes to families. If, say, your spouse is a spender and you're a saver, you guys need to come up with a plan so you both can get what you want, because I know that could lead into a lot of money problems as well. Banking on a windfall, that's basically spending money that you don't necessarily have yet. So say you're getting an inheritance check and you just blow a lot of money, but you don't end up getting that inheritance check, so you're responsible for paying all the money. And then number 10 is financial literacy. So basically you just don't know how money works. You don't save, you don't know how to invest.
All right. A lot of people use a credit card and they just think of it as free money. We need to think of a credit card as like a landlord. You're essentially paying to use that money. And a lot of people just think, oh, I can use this credit card and it has no consequences. Do you guys have credit cards? Yeah. So when you use it, it doesn't come directly out of your debit account or checking account, so you think, oh, it's free money. But you get that monthly statement, you just pay, I don't know, $5 on it. That's going to keep getting bigger and bigger. And if you continuously only pay the minimum payment, it's going to take forever to pay it all off. So when you get a credit card, these are some important questions to ask. Or when you're making a big purchase, how much money do you actually need? Can you split the cost between putting half of it cash or in your debit and the other half on credit? How soon can you pay it back? If it's going to take a really long time, maybe that's not necessarily a necessity. And that goes on with the next question. Do you really need to make that purchase? And then can you afford the APR? Does anyone know what the APR stands for?
Something rate, I'm assuming.
Annual percentage rate. And most credit cards are like between 8 to 20%. I have a Capital One card and it's about 12.5%. So I always try and pay that off as quickly as possible.
All right, this is a graph from 2002 to 2012. It shows that student loans grew by 77% from 2002 to 2012. So around here, student loans were roughly around $42,000 per student. Now in 2012, it's roughly about, I want to say 78,000. So it grew a lot from the 2002 to 2012. And then this graph, I don't really tell the color difference, but it's a purple graph. I'm a purple bar line. And it's on the delinquency rate. And that's basically showing like students who didn't pay their student loans more than 90 days. It shows that it's increased. So the student percent of the borrowers whose loans are more than 90 days delinquent increased from under 10% in 2004 to about 18% in 2012.
And we're going to go into credit scores. And one of the most important things you can do to maintain your credit is just make those monthly payments. Even if it's not the amount that they want, just show that you're trying to pay it. And they won't penalize you as much.
So if you guys have laptops.
Here's some iPads.
Should we go to that side?
Yeah, go to practical money skills. And then at the top, you should see calculators
Okay.
and credit and debt.
This is such a great site to use for so many things. If you want to buy a car, if you want to buy a house, student loan, anything. It's just amazing what they have available for you.
Also, there's another website I put up there to check how much you owe in student loans right now. It's nslds.ed.gov, and that's basically showing you how much money you've taken out as of right now. So that'll help you with doing this calculation. I know you need your FAFSA information, so your PIN number, and it's just going to ask you for your basic information, Social Security.
Has anyone been able to find the student loans? We would actually have to go over to the education in college, and then you're paying student loans. Alright. So we're just going to punch in some information here. How much do you guys want to make when you get out of college, realistically?
Oh gosh.
How's 32,000 sound?
How's 40?
40?
I think you guys are going to be I know that you two are going to be in a good negotiating position, but I think you guys will as well. They're just going to need so many teachers in so many places. No promises.
Then let's see, how much should our loan amount be?
Like after, like our,
Upon graduation?
well, what did that graph say was like typical of now?
That was saying about 70,000.
Oh, yeah.
Should we do that?
Yeah, do that.
Let's
Do
just
that.
max it out.
I think at Bowling Green for 4 years it might be 80. If you borrowed every year for 4 years, the maximum, to pay tuition and room and board. That isn't even books.
And let's see, just looked it up, the average interest rate is about 4.66% right now. And then, let's see if we can, how long do you think it's going to take us to pay this off? 10 years, 20, 30?
What does the government give you? Do you know?
I know they give you 6 months before they start
Right.
making you pay, but how long do you think it's going to take to pay this off? Just any guesses based on our,
Maybe like,
So-
yeah, like 10 years or something.
10 years?
It takes,
so let's try 120 months, and then it'll tell us if it's reasonable if we can do this.
Wow.
monthly. Yeah.
That's more than rent. Okay, so try 20 years.
That still doesn't help too much.
Yeah, that's just like a lot.
448.
Mhm.
I have to tell you that I have friends who we're now past 30 years, or just about 30 years from graduating from college, and they are just paying off their student loans. So put 30 in there. And they did not have loans. When I went here, it was $3,000 to go to school.
And that's $360 per month.
For 30 years.
For 30 years. Now, $360 this year is an awful lot of money per month. But in 20 years, by percentage, it may shrink. Just like, 20 years ago, the minimum wage was maybe $3 an hour. Okay, so,
Yeah, it's changed a lot.
yeah.
Yeah, it's a little frightening to see those numbers. It's hard to imagine 30 years from now when you're getting ready to retire,
Still paying one for school.
still paying student loans.
And what if it took you 5 years? What if you switched schools and you went to a more expensive school? What if you got private loans for school? I mean, when you think about how much money you could owe, you can understand, Divaughn, that chart that you had.
Yeah, I've personally been in college since 2006, and fortunately I've been able to go without loans until the last 18 months, but I was pretty blessed with my parents, or else I'd be in pretty dire straits right
I was in 6th grade in 2006.
now. Yeah. Yeah, it's not all rainbows when you graduate. So, let's see. All right, so that leads us to our next thing called bankruptcy. I was trying to find a nice graphic of the Monopoly Man, but I just couldn't find one suitable. But bankruptcy is a process in which consumers and businesses just can't pay what they owe anymore. And then there's two major types of bankruptcy. There's Chapter 7 and Chapter 13. Chapter 7 goes with liquidation, where they sell off your property to try and recoup your debt. Then the other one is Chapter 13, which is wage garnishment. And you see a lot of that in the medical fields, where someone goes to the hospital and they don't have health insurance, and they just accrue these massive bills. A lot of times they'll go with Chapter 13, and those take a couple dollars out of every paycheck. Realistically, you'll never pay it off, but at least it's showing that there is some good faith that you're trying to pay it off. So now we get to go into our credit scores. Does anyone in here know what their credit score is?
I don't even know if I would like have one. I don't have any.
You do.
You would have one.
You
Well, I
have one.
666, just straight 60.
Most college kids are in that average to poor, and it depends upon whether or not you have a credit card or you've accumulated any loans if outside of school. Okay.
Yeah, my credit score is right at 720. So I've had a credit card for 8 years now, and I was just, when I was younger, I'd just use it to fill up my car, and I would just pay it off, the small purchases, and it created that payment schedule, which is very crucial for your credit score. So, as a class, we're going to take a little quiz here.
Alright, so which is the most important factor in determining a credit score? Either A, payment history, B, amount owed, C, length of credit history, D, type of credit in use.
I think I would say payment history.
A.
A.
All right. The secret to cleaning up a poor credit score is by A, leaving it alone, B, removing negative items and adding positive items, C, asking a lender to look at your credit report, or D, all of the above.
Does leaving it alone mean just like forget about it and just pretend like it's
Yeah.
not there?
That's
Okay, so
not
not that
okay.
one.
It's not A or D.
Yeah. Maybe asking a lender to look at your credit report.
Okay,
C.
we can go with that. Your credit score can affect your auto insurance rates.
True.
Oh, the ladies are going to be so happy you learned that with Finance 101.
The highest FICO credit score is 900, 750, 850, or 700.
750?
Is it A
Taylor.
or C? I'm trying to remember both things.
DJ can weigh in on this.
C.
And question 5, your credit score is always changing.
Sure.
All right, let's see how we did. All right, we got 4 out of 5. So payment history, correct. And then that one, you want to remove negative items. Some examples of negative items would be delinquent bills, so just trying to get those paid off, get them off your credit score. And
How long do they stay on there, do you know?
Yeah, I don't know.
3 years.
3 years.
3 years. Your payment history runs. When you get a credit report, it will show, like mine shows, I had a Jacobson's credit card in 1980, and I got out of college, and that store hasn't been in existence for years, but it still shows up. But it shows the most current payment history. And if I co-signed on a loan for my daughter for a car, and she missed a payment, it popped up. I flipped out because it popped up. I check it every month, and it popped up. So you want to get those things removed.
Did you have a nice stern talk with her?
I just asked her what happened, because that's never happened before.
Let's see then. Everything else you guys did great on. So,
Got a little 30-second clips just to explain like what the credit score is and what each factor is.
It's so important.
Credit scores are one of life's great mysteries. Your credit score changes every day, and it impacts you on many different fronts. Sometimes you don't even know about it. Why did you get that 5% interest when your neighbor got a 2% interest? Why did your insurance rate go up? Credit scores impact many things, including car loans, mortgage interests, insurance rates, even some employment opportunities, just to name a few.
And the next video shows how credit is born, so where does credit come from?
So where do credit scores come from? Essentially your creditors, like your credit cards or your mortgage lender. The lenders report information about the way you are using the credit they have extended to you. This information goes to the 3 credit bureaus, Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax. The credit bureaus use a complex mathematical formula based on FICO to determine your score. They each use their own formula. This is why your credit score varies from credit bureau to credit bureau. They change every day.
And then this last video, I feel like this is the most important part you want to pay attention to. And it's like the 5 parts of your credit score.
Some factors are more important than others when determining your credit score. We have a pie to show you the importance of each factor. The most important factor is your payment history. 35% of your credit score is based on how well you pay your bills. Basically, are you paying things on time? One late payment can harm your score, and time matters. A late payment 1 month ago will have much more impact than a payment you had a few years ago. The second most important factor is your credit amount. 30% of your score is based on how much debt you have outstanding. This primarily looks at how many accounts carrying balances. It compares how much you owe on your accounts to what your limits are. This is referred to the utilization ratio. For example, if you owe $900 on a credit card with a limit of $1,000, this means you are using 90% of your available credit, which will appear like very risky behavior to the credit bureaus. Third most important is credit length. In other words, how long have you had your accounts? The longer you have had your accounts in good standing, the better. Sometimes just waiting long enough will improve your score on its own. The amount of new credit and the variety of credit you have matters, but a little bit less than the other factors. Basically, you want to avoid obtaining too many new lines of credit in a short period of time. And if possible, having a variety of credit, like credit cards, mortgages, car loans, etc., looks good to a credit bureau because it demonstrates that you have the ability to handle a variety of credit.
alright, let's see if we can ace this test this time.
I'm not answering.
Alright, what's the most important factor?
A.
Secret to cleaning up a poor credit score?
B.
Your credit score can affect insurance rates.
Hey.
And what's the highest credit score?
See.
And your credit score is always changing.
Hey.
Good job.
Ah.
Isn't that cool? Wait a minute.
Congratulations, Alex.
All right, and then I just wanted kind of to look into what Ohio is doing in terms of credit and debt. And I didn't find anything too exciting other than the way that debts can be collected. A lot of collection agencies, they almost harass the individuals that owe money. So just with that link, the Attorney General kind of made an initiative to restrict what the debt collectors can do. Like, they can't contact you at work unless you give them permission. And basically they just don't want to get harassed. So if you guys are interested in that, we can pull this up. And then we got one more thing here. Little scenario. Amy is a recent college grad who earns about $1,500 in take-home pay. She has an apartment in which she pays $500 in rent and utilities. She makes 2 monthly payments, $120 for loans and $150 for her auto. She's also paying about $20 on credit cards. She has just seen some furniture that she thinks is stunning, but she could buy the pieces paying $50 a month over 3 years. She wonders whether she should do so. So that red's a little tough to see, but is Amy developing a credit rating based on what we've seen?
Yeah. Because she has loan payments and credit card. She pays on her credit card.
What was the rent, 500?
Yeah.
What are the other payments she's making?
120 for student loans and 150 for car.
Minus another 270.
And then 20 on her credit cards. And then 50 a month over 3 years.
And then, as we learned in Finance 101, you should probably be putting away 10% of her pre-tax earnings, but since she didn't put that down, we'll just say she's putting away another 150. So that gives us, let's see, 560 to work with.
But she hasn't eaten.
Mm-hmm. So, how much do you guys usually pay per month in groceries?
Meal plan.
Meal plan?
Yeah, I don't really pay that much because I live at home, but I mean, maybe like $50 since I don't buy everything.
What about you guys? You
I
take
buy all my groceries, so I pay about 150 to 200 a month on groceries.
Yeah, same thing.
So that takes us to 360, and as of right now, she's not having any fun. And you know, as a recent college grad, you're still gonna have a social life. How much do you guys spend a month going out?
A lot.
I'd say like just to like go out, maybe like go out to eat with your friends, or you know.
Also getting clothes and
Yeah,
stuff like
I
that.
mean probably like at least $100 in a month. If
I'd
you-
say that's probably low. Let's say like
Yeah.
another 150, and that's probably still not too.
Yeah, Taylor's
reasonable.
not cringing yet.
So we'll just stick with this 210 number. That's what she has left over. Do you think she should buy the furniture on that payment plan? There's no right or wrong answer.
I wouldn't.
I wouldn't
I think it's a
either.
waste of money.
Mhm.
Buy used furniture and buy it cheap. I mean,
Mhm.
that's just what I wouldn't want to put down.
Yeah, you never know what's going to come up. I'd rather have money in my bank account instead of just
Going
spending
rather than
like
going
all
to a
of it.
couch, I'd rather.
Yeah.
I would say no.
Mhm.
She's still paying on her car, but what if something, she still has oil changes and regular maintenance that she has to do.
Gas, just
Stuff
Yeah,
gas,
gas.
Yeah,
which that right there, gas would, depending,
Yeah.
That would
Yeah,
be
how far
bad.
she
Yeah.
drives.
Yeah.
Just random expenses always come up. I
Yeah,
feel so
so I-
uncomfortable.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I think it's the best choice.
Yeah, and you gotta think if she does start making payments on the furniture, she could be pulling away on the other payments that she could be getting ahead of.
Mhm.
I think that's a big thing to take away from that, so you gotta realize these short-term things, like, oh, that furniture's nice, but it can affect you in the long run.
Mhm.
So, I feel like you guys got a pretty good grasp on that. Questions, comments, concerns? All right. These are fantastic sources. That's all we got.
Good.
Yay.
Good job.
Good job.